साधारण टेस्ट
On. Yeah. Morning class we discussed JSON to string to JSON to JavaScript to what? JavaScript to JSON to JavaScript. Morning class we completed. And see guys, let me go for one REST API call, and we create the class level component and how many types of components we have? What are two types? Functional level components and nice class level component and what? Functional level component. Class level and what? Functional level. That is a component. And today I'll go with the REST API call. See guys, I'll go for some dummy call. Get API call. As in the internet, we have the multiple JSON calls are there. You can take one call from the REST API. From internet, you can take one get call. I'll work on the get call. I work on what? Get call. To work on the get call, here we have there are two types of communication, guys. One is the synchronous communication, and tell me, guys, one is what? Synchronous, and the second one is what? Asynchronous. Synchronous communication is there, and asynchronous communication is there. What is the synchronous communication, and what is the asynchronous communication? We need to get the clarity first. Coming to synchronous communication, guys. Synchronous communication, the code executed like line by line process. The code execution done what? The code execution is done. What format, guys? Here, line by line format. So line by line format in the sense, say I written the line 1, line 2, line 3 like that. First line executed, second line executed, third line executed. Line by line means what? Line by line normally line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, and what? Line 5. Synchronous communication means, see for example, you written the statement 1, statement 2, statement 3, statement 4, like that. Isn't that statement 3, statement 2, I written the code like, I call the get API. Call what, get API. Synchronous communication means what happened, when you call the get API, the get API means what? That API is there in internet. API is there in where? Internet. If the API is there in internet, we are calling what API? Tell me, get API. What API? Get API. You are calling the get API, get call, API call you are done. When the statement to API call is done, it is getting the response from internet. To get the response, definitely it will take bit time. To get the response, you get the response, hold the response, get the response and what? Hold the response. Once the response is done, holding the response, after holding the response only, the statement 3 got executed. It means statement 2 completed. You're getting you call the get API and get the response and hold the response. And once the response is holding, then only what happened is statement 3 will be executed. What statement? Statement 3 will be executed. Then what are the point, guys? Tell me. Synchronous communication means the code execution done by which format? Line by line format. When you call the API has to be called and get the response. Once the response is holding, then only next line will be executed. Next line should be what? Executed, right? That is called like synchronous call. Synchronous communication means I make a call here. You are taking some time to respond. Even you are taking some time to respond, I need to wait up to your response. Once I got your response, then only I can go for what? Remind. I can go with what? That is called what communication? Synchronous. Synchronous communication means line by line execution. One line making a call to API, it has to get the response. Tell me, once the response is coming, then only what happened here? Remaining code got executed, right? That is called what communication? Synchronous. But tell me, synchronous communication with the time waste process, right? So no, you are making the 10 API calls are there. Assume that when you make the API call, it has to get the response. After getting the response, then only what? Remaining code got executed. It means what? Remaining code has to wait until what? The response has to be resolved, right? That response has to be resolved. That is called synchronous communication, guys. What communication? Synchronous communication. And asynchronous communication we have. Asynchronous communication means asynchronous communication can be handled using two keywords, guys. One is a async keyword. Tell me, guys. One is what? Async keyword. Second one is the await keyword. Asynchronous communication can be handled how many ways, ma? Two ways. One is the not two ways. Asynchronous communication can be achieved through using these two keywords. What are two keywords? One is the async and await. Asynchronous communication means like you call the API. You call what? You no need to wait for the remaining code execution. Asynchronous communication means you call the API. And you call the API and you don't no need to wait for that response. Without response is coming or not, the remaining code executed automatically. The remaining steps are what? Executed automatically. See guys, synchronous function and asynchronous function. Synchronous function means what? Line by line execution. Once if you make the API call, tell me once you make what? API call, wait for the response. After response is coming, then only remaining code will be executed. That is what called synchronous call. Asynchronous call. What is synchronous call? You make the API call. Make what? When you make the API call, API response should come. And you no need to wait for that response. You need to what? Wait for that response. Without waiting for the response, then what happens, guys? Other components will be executed. Other code will be executed, right? What happened? Yeah, other code will be what? Executed, right? That is called asynchronous communication. How many types of communication total we have? Two types. What are two types? Synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous means what? Line by line execution. One line complete, then only second line executed. Once you got the response, then only third line will be executed. That is called synchronous. Asynchronous communication means you make a call and you no need to wait for the response. No need to what? Wait for the response, right? Exactly. The remaining code executed normally. And once the data is coming, that code will be executed properly. No problem. See guys, I'll tell you the asynchronous operation. Asynchronous operation means you take the function like fetch data function. What the data guys here? Fetch data. What the data here? Fetch data. What the function you taken here? Fetch data. What the function name here? Fetch data. You take the let fetch data. Let what? Fetch data equal to just you can take the arrow function. What the syntax of arrow function? Tell me. So you can put what? Parenthesis, arrow. Just you can put what? Braces like this. What the function name? What is the lambda? This is called lambda function, guys. Arrow function something. What function? Arrow function. Okay, this is what function here? Arrow function. Left side is what data here? Variable. Lambda like arrow function name, right? What is the arrow function name? Tell me here. Fetch data. See guys, this is like we have another function like loading the header page. Loading what? Loading the header, loading the footer. This is the remaining code. Loading the footer, some other code is there. See guys, here we can call that API. To call the API, guys, what the package they are using? Axios package. Axios dot what? Get. Okay, how to call the get APIs? To call the get APIs, Axios package we need to use Axios dot what? Tell me Axios dot what? Get. Axios dot what? Get. Axios dot what? Get. This is like function call axios.get. Here you can give the URL, internet URL we have to give. We have to give the URL. We have to give what? URL. This is a lambda function, right? This is what function? Arrow function, right? Once this is arrow function, guys, before this function call, you write the code like async keyword. What the keyword is here? Async, right? This is async keyword. It means this function is doing, that arrow function is doing what logic? Asynchronous operation. Before that function, this is the arrow function, right? This code is arrow function. Before the arrow function, I use a keyword is what? Async. It means that arrow function is doing what operation? That arrow function is doing what operation? Yeah. That arrow function is doing asynchronous operation. What operation? Asynchronous operation. See guys, this is a loading the footer function, loading the footer function, loading what? Header function. Like that, we have some other functions are there. That is what? Other functions code is there. This is like how many functions total we written here? Three functions. How many functions are? One is the fetch data function. This is like arrow function, and this is loading the footer function, loading what? Header function. I written the three functions. Observe carefully. How can you call the URL using Axios dot what? Axios dot what? Axios dot get you the URL. Give the URL. Give the URL. Give the URL, guys. See guys, this is the URL we are giving. We need to get the response, guys. That's what let what? Response here. Response you are giving. When you call what? Axios.get, guys. Before calling, here we need to use the function. This is what we are doing in that line. That line is calling what? The REST API. That line is calling what? When you are calling the REST API, it has to give the response. It has to give what? Response. That's what, guys. Here I use like await keyword. What keyword? I use await keyword before what? Function call. Before what call? Yeah. So this is arrow function is doing what operation? Synchronous operation, asynchronous operation. This is the arrow function is doing asynchronous operation is async keyword. And when you call the URL, this is the URL calling. Before the URL calling, I use which keyword? Await keyword. It's saying that Wait means what? Wait. Await means what? Not wait. Wait means what, ma? Sleep means what? Sleep. Asleep means what? Don't sleep. Don't what? Sir, no. Wait means you have to wait. But I have used wait, await. Await means this, like, URL call we are doing, and then before that you are calling await. It means other code you no need to wait. You can continue remaining code. Continue what? Remaining code loading means what? Header loading, footer loading is done automatically. That code executing or stopping off. That code is executing back off. That code is what? Executing. But this is what Axios.get we are calling what? Await. Await means other code you no need to wait. Other code no need to wait. No need to wait. Other code what? Need to wait or no need to wait? No need to wait. So that is called await keyword, guys. It will wait until this, the URL is resolved. Until the URL is what? Resolved. And await means two words, ma. That line should wait until the response comes. And other code should not wait. Other code what? Should not wait. You got the point, huh? Got the point? Tell me. Await means what? It will wait until this response resolved. Response is what? That's one point. That line will wait until the response is resolved. And other functions should wait or no need to wait. Other functions can load the header, load the footer, no problem. But what happened if you write the synchronous communication, guys? If you remove this async and await, then this is synchronous, asynchronous, synchronous. Synchronous means what? Other function should execute or not execute? Not execute. Once you got the response, hold the response, then only next step by step process done. But what about async? To represent this arrow function is doing synchronous operation, asynchronous operation. Await means what? Other code no need to wait, but the URL that the call should wait until to get the response. Until to get what? See guys, generally Axios.get you are getting, and it is should wait. Should what? Await understood. The await means what? Other function code no need to wait, but that URL should wait until the response is resolved. Until the response is what? Today we'll get some interview questions, guys. So how to convert the JavaScript to JSON, JSON to JavaScript, how to make the API calls, and what is synchronous operation, asynchronous operation, what's the need of async keyword and await keyword. Like that you get some questions. And what is a promise object? Promise object means here we are calling the URL. Calling what? You are calling the URL. And await means what? Other code. You no need to wait for this function should complete. Other code you can execute normally, but it will wait until this response is what? Resolved. Until the response is resolved means Axios.getMa, which returns promise object. Which returns what object? Await means it is waiting until the promise object is resolved. Axios.get returns what object? Tell me. Promise object. Sir, what is this promise? What is this API, sir? You get the what you are calling here. Response Axios.getter. Axios.get returns which object? Promise. What object? Promise object. Promise object, the promise object contains the 3 states internally. Promise object contains what? 3 states. See guys, await means other code no need to wait. Other code execute. But this URL call should wait until the promise is resolved. Until what? Promise is. Sir, what is this promise, sir? When you call the Axios.get, Axios.what? Get, it returns the promise object. It returns what object, ma? Promise object. So the promise object contains 3 states. Promise object contains how many states, sir? 3 states. One is fulfilled. Fulfilled means what? Response is coming. One is what state? Fulfilled. And second one is rejected. Second one is what? Rejected. It means API is rejected. You should not get the response. It means the promise. Axios.get returns what object? Promise object. Nice. Axios.get returns what object? Promise object contains how many states? 3 states. One is the fulfilled. Fulfilled means success. You got the response. Data coming. Then the data is holding into which object? Response object. Say holding into which object? Response object. Await means what? It is waiting until the promise is resolved. Sir, what is the promise resolved, sir? The promise object written. The promise object contains how many states? 3 states, and any one of the state is holding. Fulfilled means what? Success. Fulfilled means what? Success. Second one is what? Rejected means failed. Pending means that API is not responding properly. It's like no, it's going for the pending state. How many states total promise object contains? 3 states. What are 3 states? Tell me. One is what? Fulfilled. Second one is what? Third one is what? The promise object contains 3 states, guys. One is like fulfilled. One is what? Pending. It means what? The promise still executing asynchronous task, waiting for an API response. Pending means what? Waiting. Pending means what? Waiting. Yeah, someone is giving the money, but he is pending, right? Pending means what? We are in the waiting state. He's when you don't know. That is called what? Pending state. Second one is what? Resolved or fulfilled. Fulfilled means what? The synchronous task completed what? Successfully. And the promise now resolved with return the data result. See, promise is resolved means what? Return the data. A promise contains how many states? What 3 states? Someone is asking what is a promise means, just you have to tell. When you call the API call return the response is promise object. The promise object contains the 3 states. One is that API response may be pending, may be rejected, may be fulfilled. Then it is resolve that promise and holding the response. Resolve that promise and holding to what response. Rejected means what? Asynchronous task is what? Success failed. Failed and promise now rejected with an error. Rejected with what? Error. How many states the promise object contains? What are 3 states? Pending state, resolved state, rejected state. Resolved state and what? Rejected state, right? That is called your promise object. This arrow function is doing synchronous operation, asynchronous operation. How can you tell this arrow function is doing asynchronous operation? Is async keyword. Async keyword is representing that function is doing what? Asynchronous operation. Inside the asynchronous operation, you can use the await keyword. What keyword, await keyword is saying that other code no need to wait, but that line should wait until the promise is resolved. Till the promise is what? Once the promise is resolved, the response can be, how many responses it may be? 3. One is the fulfilled response, maybe pending response, or what? Rejected response. Like errorness, like rejected, right? That is called, we need to go with what? Synchronous operation and what operation? How can you achieve the asynchronous operation? How many keywords we need to use? 2. What are the 2? Async and async keyword representing your function is doing the asynchronous operation. Inside the asynchronous operation function, we should use what? Await. The await means what? That we other code no need to wait, but that function call should wait until the promise is what? Until the promise is what, Vijaya? Resolved. If you are sleeping now, then automatically those are resolved. Automatically what? Saturday sleeping, Sunday sleeping, Monday also what? Sleeping. Then automatically promise is what? Promise contains how many states? 3 states. But obviously your state is always what? Sleeping state. That state is not there, unfortunately. What state here? Sleeping state, Good. No, you are not fulfilled, you are not rejected. Your state is always pending state. You are waiting for the job. The job is not come, not rejected. Yes, sir, no. Company will not give the job, company will not reject you. Always in which state? Pending state in Amirpet hostels. Pending in where? Amirpet hostels. What, sir? పెళ్ళికొడుకు పక్కన కొత్త పెళ్ళికొడుకు వచ్చినట్టున్నాడు. అప్పుడప్పుడు వస్తున్నారు, నిద్రపోతున్నారు పద్ధతిగా. సార్ నాకు జాబ్ రావటం లేదు సార్ అండి. Good. How many states promise object contains? 3 states. Async keyword purpose is what? To represent the function is doing, that function is doing asynchronous operation. The function is doing asynchronous operation, async. Inside async, we have to use what? Await. Saying that other code, you please no need to wait for me, but my line should wait. My line should. Other people you go, but I will sleep. But what? Good morning. Other code what? No need to. Other code, other people you go. Other people you. But I will sleep until my response will get. Until my promise is resolved. Until my response, right? Until my response means Axios.get returns a response of promise object. Axios.get returns a promise object. Promise object contains how many states, sir? What are these states, sir? Fulfill, rejected, pending. That is called what operation? Because synchronous versus asynchronous operation. Synchronous versus what? Asynchronous operation, right? I understood async keyword, right? What the purpose of async keyword? Async keyword is used to represent that function is doing that function. What is the purpose of async keyword? Async keyword is representing the function is doing. In front of the function you're using async keyword represent the function is doing what? The function is doing asynchronous operation. Await before the function call, before the get call, before what call? We used what? Await representing what? Other code no need to wait, but my code should wait until the promise is resolved. Until the because get is written what? Promise. Get returns what? Promise. My upcode promise. Promise contains how many states? So the promise very important. Promise which contains what? Fulfilled. You have to promise yourself either fulfilled, rejected, or pending. Your state is what? Pending state. What state? Pending. So how many guys will fulfill and how many guys will what? Rejected. But you are in what state? Pending state. Pending state means you have to wait. You have to wait for the API response. Wait for what? API response. You got the point of? Good. Let's go for the small example for the API call. See guys, I'll use the first synchronous example, small example, synchronous code. And I'll use the same code with what? Asynchronous operation. For present application, we are not using any what? Synchronous operation. Always we are using what operation? What operation? Asynchronous operation. Synchronous and what? Asynchronous. Synchronous and asynchronous. See guys, we need to handle exception using what block? Try and catch block. Even JavaScript also contains what? Try and catch block to handle what? Errors. To handle errors. See guys, synchronous operation, I will do one small code. Later I will convert that into the synchronous operation. Synchronous operation, first we need to call what? Axios dot. Tell me guys, Axios dot what? Axios dot get. I'll give the one URL, dummy URL. I have some multiple URL. So you can call the Axios dot get. Axios dot what? Get response. Axios dot get we can call once you are getting dot, then we will use dot what? Then what? Set the after getting what? Set the you are calling the API. After calling the API, what we have to do? Set the response. Dot then you use to set the response. If response something like failed, get call is what? Failed. Then response errors. Errors. Go for the catch. Dot catch. Then this is executed like sequence manner. First what? Getter. Then what? Then what? Catch. Synchronous operation. Step by step. Sync means what? Step by step. First we have to call the URL. Then only response is setting. If response is failed, then only catch will execute. Then only what? Catch will execute, right? Error, we can print the error line. This is what operation guys? Synchronous. But tell me guys, this code I want execute automatically. I don't want any function call. I don't want it. Tell me. Axios dot what? Getter. We are calling one URL. Set the response and if anything is failed, catch the errors. Fine. That is what that code is what? synchronous, but okay. What that code is doing? Calling the API. If it is calling the API, calling what? API. Calling what? API. Calling the API. When that code should execute? You should execute that code automatically. Something like when you clicked something. I don't want click. I don't want what? Click. I want to execute that code automatically. Automatically get the data, print the data. That's all. Tell me, how can I execute that code automatically? We can use the hook, like what hook? వరమాకరా నువ్వు వరిసావు అనుకో ఆ నిద్రపోయే వాళ్ళు గుర్తున్నారా పక్కన లేసి నీకెళ్ళి చూస్తున్నారు నువ్వు ఎందుకు అంత గట్టిగా అరుతూ that code is what? Getting the data from API. Getting the data from where? API. Getting the data from that code execute automatically. That code execute automatically. We need to click on some functions. You don't click, that code should execute automatically. That code should execute what? That code should execute automatically when the component is loaded. When the component is what? Loaded. That code should execute what? Automatically, right? Tell me guys, how this code should execute automatically? Now we need to use the hook, like use effect. Hey, we discussed, right? This code is calling the URL here. That code is calling the getter. The code, when that code should execute? With your interaction, automatically execute. That code should execute automatically. How that code should execute automatically? Use effect. What hook here? Use effect hook, write the logic. How to write the logic? Parenthesis, arrow. I told clearly, this all we can put in the what? Braces, comma, and we need to make what? One empty array. Take what? One empty array. Why that empty array? Stand up. Why that empty array you taken? We discussed, right? Without empty array, with empty array, with count. Sir, no? Why that empty array? This is a use effect hook. This code execute automatically.
Component will be loading.
Okay. With this empty array. I'm asking empty array. Why empty array? Why empty array? Use effect, you return some arrow function here. Up to this brace is the logic. Why use effect is taking the two arguments. One argument is what? Arrow function. Nothing but calling the logics. This logic should execute automatically. Second argument is what? Empty array. What is second argument? Why you take the empty array? Masala will tell you. Stand up masala. Without the count means what? That is with count is there, not empty array. Empty array means how many times? think online people responded, sir, we need to promise Axios concept only API calls or anything. No, Mamata, only for the API calls. They say promise will work only when you call the APIs. That we are calling the Axios.get, right? Sit down. Axios.get means what? It returns what object? Promise object. Promise object contains how many states? 3 states. What are 3 states? Pending, fulfilled, rejected. Await means other code no need to wait, but that line should wait until the promise is what? That is called use effect. I hope you understood then and catch, right? Then means what? To handle the response. Catch means what? To handle the errors. This is a calling the URL, guys. This is a handling the response. And this is what catching the error. And this is empty array means what? This use effect hook should be loaded how many times? Only once. Only one. And previously here we used what? Counter. Nothing but what happened here? How many times the count is what? Increasing. How many times what? The count is increasing. That many times use effect is called automatically. But as of now, empty array you taken only one time got executed, right? That is called what? Where is synchronous call or asynchronous call? Synchronous call, because here I didn't use async keyword, I didn't use what? Await keyword. It means what? First we get the URL, then only you can get the response, then only you can catch the errors. Execution done by step by step. Execution done what? Step by step. Step by step when you do, then we'll get the response call. That is what a URL. Guys, from internet, I will take some dummy JSON URLs. Let me go for the some what you can say URL is. You can go with what? Dummy JSON. What the website I opened, guys? dummyjson.com. I'll use some dummy JSON objects. Yeah, here if you open the dummyjson.com, like dummy people, dummy JSONs. What Kalyani? Oh, put the other way, please. Dummy object is there. Dummy JSON, just you can come down. There we can see some API calls. Can you see that API calls, right? Yeah, these are the top resources API calls. Dummyjson.com you can open. Here we have the products, users, comments, to-dos, images. These all are the URLs we have. Let me take the quotations. What the URL I'm clicking is quotations. If you click on the quotations, you will get the n number of quotations like this. But you got some quotations here. These quotations contains like quotation ID. Quotation what? ID. First quotation you can see, guys. Your heart is the Kalyani. Heart is what? Samudra lantidi. Your heart is what? Chappatra. Heart is what? Go and find what? Go find yourself in its hidden depth. Got the point, right? The king thinking is capital, enterprise is the way. If you can make the good, like at least make a look. This is good. Right? If you can't make it good, at least make it. That Bill Gates. You can't make it. Hey, that is very important quotation. If you can't make it good, at least make it what? You can't make it good, at least make it look what? You know Bill Gates, right? Who is Bill Gates? Huh? Businessman, I told you. Oh, the quotation, at least make it look good, right? Generally, that quotation is from the Mac OS to Microsoft OS. He is from the, he's from where? Time wasted. These are the quotations, guys. Just you can go for the URL. Let me check this URL here. This is the URL. What website name, tell me? dummyjson.com/quotes/1. This is the URL, guys. This is what URL. That is the URL, guys. We have the fetch data. We have what? Fetch data. Let me take one small code for that. Yeah, that is for the synchronous call. Synchronous call we can do with what? Synchronous call means what? Effector, use effector, promise object. Use effect. Use effect means we need to call or automatically called. Automatically called, and you need to make the data. That's like, yeah, use effect. And we need to take the Axios. Hey, you please install one package, guys. What the package name here? Axios. How to install Axios? Tell me. npm install. npm install on what? Axios. Go for the settings. Let me increase the font size better. Yeah, good. See, guys, this is like data. I'm taking one state variable to maintain what? Response. What variable? State variable. Use effect we are calling automatically called up. Automatically called. See, guys, Axios package we need to get. We can go for what call here? Get call. This is the URL we have to give. What the URL tell me? 1. So this is a calling that API. Then response is setting. See, guys, how to set the response here? Response arrow. Set the data. Response dot what? Data. Response dot what? Data. Because you taken the state variable, right? What the state variable tell me? Data. Set data. Use state. Then get that quotations, guys, then set the response. If anything is done wrong, go for what? Catch block, error, console dot what? Error fetching what? Data. Error fetching what? Data, and printing that error like that. You can take the error variable. This is called use effect loop, guys. What will come on? Use effect. Guys, just printing the data like JSON dot stringify, because we are taking the data in which format? JSON object format. You take the data and data dot what? Stringify you can use. I can just printing the API response, guys. You have the data variable, right? What variable here? Data variable. See, guys, use state hook you know already. Axios dot get dot then. What the purpose of Axios dot get? To call the API. Dot then means purpose is what? To set the response. Catch means what? To handle the error. This code should execute. We need to call automatically. That's what we use. What hook? Use effect hook. Then return statement I written anything, just printing the data now. Just printing the data. We printing what? Data. That is the data. That's it, guys. Just take a run this code. This is the fetch data. This is what the column fetch data API. Go for the app.jsx. Here I call what? Fetch data slash. Fetch data slash means what? Fetch data slash means what? That is including app.jsx file, right? App.jsx file we are including. That is fine. You simply can run this code, go to the browser, and we can go for what? The file, and this is the API response. Yeah, that is what your API response, guys. That's it. Now we got what response here? API response. Hey, what the message you written here? In the fetch data, what the response you called here? API response. That is the API response. That is what? API response, and this is what your quotation. But the quotation you are getting here, ID how much? ID is how much? Quotation is what? Your heart is the size of an ocean. Go on, find yourself in what? Hidden depths. Other is what? Huh? You do one thing, go for the fetch data. You call the quotation slash 2. Quotation slash what? 2. Then first quotation coming, a second quotation getting up. Second quotation, that is second quotation. Reader point here. The Bay of Bengal is hit frequent by cyclone. The months of November and May, in particular, fine. That is correct. 10th quotation you can set it. That is the 10th quotation. Quotation ID is how much? 10. Second one is what? 4. These capital generally right. That's it, guys. We want to get the data. Just you can write what? 11th one. 11th one, just you can see. I don't believe in what? Failure. Is not a failure. You enjoyed that quotation only for the that quotation only for the Elon Musk, Anil Ambani, Mukesh Ambani, for that people. For like us, if you are doing anything, if that is wrong, all the lakhs will gone. You will come to roads. But come to don't believe this kind of quotations. I don't believe in failure. If you are failure, all the money will gone. What you will do? Elon Musk will enjoy the process because he has billions of dollars. But we have 40-50 lakhs. If you put investment 50 lakhs, you are the failure. Then what happened? All will gone. Come to roadside, you sleep. But Elon Musk and Mukesh Ambani, what they will do? Even they lost like 1,000 crores, any problem? They'll enjoy the process. They'll enjoy what? Topic is what? I don't believe in what? Failures. If we got we saw them, I saw you want to bed around go. Mottom father, good men coach. Good men coaches API response. But see, that's what, guys. You do one thing, you don't want print this complete data means you do one thing. You don't want print all object. You simply call the data dot. See, guys, that contains data dot what? 1 second. You see how many variables are there here? ID, quote, other. Assume that you want print only quotation. Only what? Quotation. That's what, guys. The API response, you remove that dot quotation. That's all. You print only quotation because you got the multiple responses, but you want to print entire response and you want to print the specific data. You don't want to print anything. You don't want to print what? What do you want? Specific data or what data? And then you can go for only quote, data dot quote. Then you can see the output. So guys, now we are getting any extra information now, only quotation now. I don't believe in failure. It's not a failure under open. So 17th quotation you can see. Now I am fast. That last night I turned on that is very good. The rest of the old 30th quotation you can see. అంత పెద్దగా ఎవరితో అంత ప్రిపరేషన్ అంటే చిన్న చిన్నగా ఉంటారు. అర్థమవుతున్నారా? 7th quotation finally I'm printing. That's it. If you are out to that's it. That is the data. That is the data. If you want complete response means you can print the complete response. You can do it what? Complete response. Complete what? Response. This is a response.json.stringify of data. No sir, I want print only quotation means what? Just you can write the data dot what? Data dot code. Data dot what? Code. That you can do it fine. That we can do, that we can do. And this is what operation? Synchronous or asynchronous? Synchronous. Dot get dot then dot catch. Dot get means get it, then set the response, then anything wrong, catch. Anything is wrong, what? That is the post catch and post under post moham. That is the data, guys. This is like axios.fetch data, dummy JSON, right? Like that, JSON.stringify. That's very nice. Good. Guys, let me go for what operation? Synchronous or asynchronous? Asynchronous. Asynchronous operation means, see guys, I don't want to make the use effect. Use effect means the code execute automatically. That's what I'm making one button, like I'm making what? One button. Tell me guys how to get the button. Button. Close what? Button. Just like let me write what? Get code. I click on that button. Click on what? Button. Tell me when you click on the button. On click. On. Yeah, on click. On click, you give the array function name. Tell me array function name. On click. On click means one function name, right? Get response. Get what? API. Get API response. That is a get API response. Get what? API. Yeah, here you can write the let API response equal to. Write the arrow function. Right? What? Arrow function. I think this is arrow function. Before this is arrow function, you are going for the synchronous operation or asynchronous operation. Asynchronous operation means before this function, we need to use what? What keyword? Async. Nice. Very nice. What keyword? Sync keyword. That is async keyword. Then we need to call the API. Tell me how to call the API. Axios get that URL, copy that URL and paste that URL. So get that URL. Get that URL. Before the URL calling, then what happened? Other code need to wait. Other code need to wait and no need to wait. But that line should wait until the promise is what? Indra? Sir, the 2 points you tell me first. Await means what? Other functions code no need to wait. No need to wait. They can execute simply. They can what? Execute. And second one is what? Other function code should wait, but await line should wait. Tell me guys, await line should wait until the promise is resolved. Until the promise is what? Resolved. That's what the purpose of what? Async. Async await. What is what? Purpose of await. Okay. Where we will use await? Inside what? Inside what? Inside async only we can use what? Await. Inside async only you can use what? Await. That's what, guys. You can go for the await. We got it. Guys, you can go for what? Let response. That's it. Next line is what? I think here before the call we need to go with what? Await. Next one is what? Tell me. Let. Tell me later. Data equal to. Hey, we need to set the data, guys. Setter method, because already we taken the what variable here? Set variable, right? Tell me how to set the data. Set data equal to what? Response dot data. Response dot what? Data. If you want this line before also, we can use what? Await. It means you should wait what? Until this line should finish, but other code should wait and no need to wait on. Last one is what, guys? Hey, you don't take this code inside which block? Try block. If anything is goes wrong, you can go for what? Tell me, guys, anything is goes wrong, you need to go with what? Catch block. Tell me, that's what you can write what? Catch. Catch argument is what? Error. So the catch argument is what? Error. Then you can write the, tell me, guys, console dot. Tell me console dot what? Console dot log of. Just you can write what? Console. Console dot what? Log of what? API calling is what? Fail. API calling is what? Fail. We can write what? Comma error. That's all, guys. That is the data. That is what? This is a synchronous operation or asynchronous operation? That is called asynchronous operation. Synchronous versus what? How many keywords in asynchronous operation? 2. One is the async. Second is the async means. Async means what? Other function code no need to wait, but that line should wait until what? Promise is what? Resolved. Just let me go to the line. Yeah, see, guys, we got one button. But the button, tell me here. I think we didn't print anything in the call, right? Yeah, we called button is ready, but after button, tell me, guys, data should present. That's what I use like conditional rendering with and operator. Data and, tell me, guys, data and means what? Data should present. If data presented, then only, tell me, data is what? Presented. Then only print the data. What do you have to print? Tell me. Data dot what? Code. Data dot code or codes are? Data dot code. Why you are getting code only, right? Data dot code. Yeah, you can take the something like paragraph. Just you can print what? The paragraph like this. Enough. That is called data and yeah, data dot code you can take in the what data, guys? Yeah, answers. Why the error there? Paragraph closing. Okay, fine. Yeah, that's it. What the meaning of this line? Data I written under. It means data is present. Data is present. Then only what? Print. Then only what? Print. Any true false condition? This is AND operator. AND operator means what? First one is the true. Then only second one got executed. Nice. Bond. Run this code. Refresh. Now click on what button? Get code. The below you will get a code. So, that is async and what? Async and I don't believe in failures. It's not a failure. You enjoyed the process. That is not work for you guys. That will work for only Elon Musk big fellows. And you can take the. Hey, is there some favorite number? Otherwise, we have some random codes here. Go to the one second. So you can go for the data like random codes are there. Go for the what website name is dummy JSON. Go for dummy JSON website. There we can come down. Here users post to comments or codes. Click on the codes. Click on what? Click on what? No, some random codes. 1 second. I think codes / you don't give the number, guys. You can give what? Random. Codes dot what? Random. Now come to the quotations like quotation marks. Yeah, click on the get code, guys. See now code is changed, right? I'll change the number by default coming up. What is the secret of success? Right description, how you make the right decision, experience how like give the thanks to no. You cannot read try something different. The code you are giving idea automatically coming up. Because you are giving /1 random. Random means random. Like that. Click on what? Get code. Doing click on the random, click on the random. Whatever happens, just keep smiling and London lose of it. Very reputation. Whatever happen. Huh? Just keep what? Smiling and top of the smiling. Your light is more magnificent. Yeah, that's okay, fine. Yes, name it. Okay, this is API response. Synchronous call is synchronous operation. Huh? Exactly. See guys, fetch call. This is a synchronous operation. Dot get, dot then, dot catch. It means get the data, then send the data, then catch the errors. Line by line execution done. What execution? But what about this operation, guys? This is like get API response, async to keyword. This is arrow function. Before the arrow function, what keyword? Async. Before the API calling, what keyword? Huh? I think today what we understood, tell me, how many types of communications? The question one. How many types of communication? How many, tell me guys, how many types of communications? How many types of communication? What is the synchronous and second question is what? What is the purpose of async and await keyword? What is the purpose of async and what? Await. Tell me guys, what the purpose of async and await keywords? Async means representing the function is doing what operation? That function is doing a synchronous operation. Inside the async function, you can do what? Await. And next one is what? What is the purpose of what is the promise object? What is what? Promise object. What is the purpose of promise object? When you call the API, it returns what? Promise object. The promise object contains how many states? What are the 3 states? Fulfilled, rejected, and what? Pending. Once it is resolved and it's assigned to response. Assigned to what? What we discussed again? To handle errors, we written what? Try and catch. In synchronous operation, we use dot then dot catch. Dot then to set the response. What is the purpose of, tell me guys, purpose of what? Dot then and dot catch. Dot then to handle what? Response. To handle what? Dot catch. Handle the handle letters. Nice. And morning class we discussed how to convert JSON to JavaScript to JSON. How to convert JavaScript to JSON? Stringify. How to convert JSON to JavaScript? Paths. What is a JSON object? What is a JSON object? What is JSON? What is JSON? Keys must be, value can be. Today is very important. That is our entire course is very important for us. Bit important or very important? Promise. When you get the promise object, when you call the API call. When you get promise object. API call returns what object? API call returns the promise object. The promise object contains 3 states and it resolved. Is what? Await means what? It will wait until the promise resolved. Other code need to wait and one need to wait. Very nice. Nice. Right a point. What we will do. Axios. You have what the purpose of Axios, right? So this is the example of what? Synchronous call is synchronous communication. Synchronous communication. 1 second. Many types of communications. Two types. What are two types? Synchronous and then the guys, what are the types of what communications? Synchronous versus what? A synchronous communication, what I told, execute the code. No, execute the code. Execute the code. Execute the code. Execute the code what? Last one. Execute the code. Code execution and what? Line by. Nice. Each statement waits for the client sends a request. Client sends a request and block the client until the server what? Response. The order of execution is what? Stricted. The client sends a request to the server. Some people are saying blocking IO, non-blocking IO. Blocking means what? Step by step. ఈ యొక్క లైట్లు ఏంటి అయ్యా అమ్మ కొద్ది లైట్ ఏమక్క అందరు చీకట్లో ఉన్నారు cs.get dot then dot catch. When people execute the code and check the output is coming or not. You have any questions for that? Yeah, execute the code and check the output is coming or not. Dot then dot catch the user effect. Share the notes in chat box. Yeah, morning output just you are called stringify, right? Yeah, the stringify you're getting normal line by line. What the code you written copy paste? The purpose of async and await keywords. Async keyword purpose is what? Async and await keywords used to handle the what operations? Synchronous or asynchronous operations? Async and await keyboard. Async and await keyboard used to handle the asynchronous operations. What is the purpose of async keyboard? To represent the function is what? Doing asynchronous operation. The function is doing what? Asynchronous operation. Inside this, we can use what? Inside this function, we can use what? Await. Await purpose is what? Await will wait. Wait for what response? API response until the promise is what? Resolved. But other function code no need to wait, they can execute. The functions code need to wait or no need to wait? No need to wait. Purpose of async and await keywords. Is promise object. Okay, what is the promise object? Yeah, Axios.get URL we are calling written what object? Promise object. The promise object contains how many states? Promise object contains the three states. One is what? Pending state. One is what? Resolved. Third one is what? Rejected. Where is resolved? First you can take better. Resolved or rejected or pending. Resolved means what? Fulfilled. It means what? Synchronous task completed successfully and the promise is now resolved with return the result. And promise now. Task completed successfully and the promise is resolved. Return the data. Rejected means what? Asynchronous task is failed and the promise now is rejected. Promise is now resolved. Resolved, rejected, pending. Get URL returns the promise object. Promise object contains three states. How many types of communications? What is a promise object? When we call the get call, when you do the REST API call, it returns a promise object which contains three states. Any one of the state is taken. Any one of the state is a response base. Any one of the state is what? Response. Where we have this async keyword? Async keyword ekkada vadada? Before the arrow function. Await keyword? Before the beside the async means before the function. Await means what? Before the API call. Before what? It's saying that what? The API call should wait until the promise is resolved, and remaining code should wait or should not wait. Other code should not wait. Say synchronous operation. Synchronous operation. How many types of components in React? How many types of components in React? What are two types? Functional components and class level components. Create the functional components using function keyword, function name app, and create the what keyword? Class component using what? Take the class name, extends the component. When we click on the get code, we should get the code. I hope you know that AND operator. Data is there, then printing the data. Okay, how many books we done up to now? How many books? What are the books we done? Use effect. Okay, use state. Use state. Selector. Use selector. Use dispatch. I think Redux. Those are Redux. Redux that is 3. Use selector, use dispatch, use a configure store. That is for the Redux. Normal without Redux values remaining one of the Sweden. Use state to maintain the state value. Number of times you can re-render the component. And the second one is what? Use ref we discussed. Use state, use ref, use effect, use navigate, use what? Navigate. Use state, use ref, use effect, use navigate, use selector, use dispatch, configure store. Try catch. Dot then and dot catch. Dot then and dot catch purpose. Dot then to set the response. Dot catch to handle the errors. Yeah, that is an Axios call. You can come finish that work. Tomorrow you'll get back.